welcome back. FUBAR here, and today we're going to be talking about each camp and their respective units, and we're going to get into it right now. So this way you guys can make the best choices going forward in the game, especially you guys who are new, just starting out, or still learning the game, or if you're wondering, well, what unit should I get? So we're going to start right here and go to the camps and cover the camps. So each camp has the same camp bonus. So that means you're at if you have 6 units deployed on the field, you will have an 18% and 18% damage resist to your troops and base. Now this does stack because you can have a maximum of 8 units at the moment. If you run a 2 unit bonus, that will become a 20% bonus between the two camps. However, this is very difficult to do and takes a very long time, especially if you're free to play. So what I recommend is running a level 4 buff with 2 units of the same camp in another and 1 flex unit. So that way you have the optimal, you know, you're still going to be at 17% instead of 20, which is still pretty dang good and is achievable. So with Liberty, you're going to have a height more additional firepower boost, and you're going to have a speed boost. Vanguard, you're going to have a firepower boost and a troop HP boost. Now with Martyr, you're going to have an HP boost and a speed boost. Okay. So the first unit we're going to start off with, and we're just going to go straight to modern units because that's what everyone's interested in. But as you go from Legacy, you're going to go your way up. So we're going to start with Air Force, then we're going to go to MBT, then Helicopter, then Artilleries, and then Infantry in that order. And we're going to talk about them in every camp from that order. We're going to start with fighter planes. Once I reconnect to the server, there we are. All right. So starting with Martyr fighter planes have enhanced maneuverability. Maneuverability is the ability to dodge attacks from other fighter planes. So that's was Martyr's specialty with fighter planes. Now, Liberty is the jack of all trades. For a fighter, doesn't have as good maneuverability as Martyrs, but it has better firepower and interception than Martyrs. But it has worse interception than Vanguard, but it also has better maneuverability than Vanguard. So it's the middle ground between the two classes. Now, Vanguard fighter planes have higher intercept. Intercept is when you're first engaging into combat, you will deal additional damage as you're entering. So when you're using this fighter plane, you want to back off and then re-engage. Back off, re-engage. So pretty much hit and run tactics for Air Force. Where Martyrs is where you're pretty much protecting an area, and Liberty could do best of both worlds. It could do both. Now on to bombers. Vanguard bomber is one of the 2 bombers that actually track a target. However, Vanguard bombers attack all units within a unit. So that means each unit has separate little individual units, where Martyrs only hits 3 targets within an individual unit. Also, Vanguard is very, very good at taking out artillery units, where Martyrs is very good at taking out tanks. As you can see here, it has the camp bonus of Tank Killer. Liberty Bomber, which is probably one of the most popular bombers in the game, but recently, Martyr and Vanguard have started to see a lot more popularity. Liberty Bombers do a grid attack and does not track the target. It does a 7 grid attack in a perfect little circle. And what this does is it'll attack all units, not individual units within the unit, all units within those 7 grids and it's very effective at taking out bases, but it's not as effective as it once was. So usually people who build martyr bombers are, I mean not martyr bombers, are Liberty bombers are very heavy whales because they could afford to go into buy the gold plus plus parts straight out of the slot machine event, and then they could just stack that up. Next, MBTs. We're going to start with martyrs. So MBTs are built from either a heavy or a medium. Now the martyr MBT has an ability unique to all the other MBTs, but it's also the slowest in retrain time. And that unique ability is repair. The repair ability means when it's not in combat, it will start regenerating health of the units that's remaining in the unit after it's left combat. So if you lost a unit, it won't come back, but the other units that were damaged will repair. All MBTs have siege, and the other unique trait between Martyr, Liberty, and Vanguard is that Martyr also has a heightened HP. It's not my favorite MBT out of the bunch, and probably not the community's favorite, but it's still a well-rounded tank, and I would recommend running this with Whipcracker and Guardian of Truth for enhanced damage resist, and it has a heightened retrain time from one of Whipcracker's abilities. So this will kind of level it out, but it won't be as fast as a Liberty or a Vanguard. So it will still be functional. Probably one of the most popular MBTs in this group is Vanguard because it's slower than the Liberty in movement and Martyr, but it has one additional perk ability that Liberty and Martyrs does not. And this ability is enhanced firepower, and all because it has all-rounder siege, rapid production, enhanced firepower, and armor reinforcement. So it has higher blast resistance. That means it will be better in tanking penetration shots, blast resistance, blast damage from artillery and bombers. It has the heightened firepower, so it's going to do more damage. It retrains very quickly, and it does damage to bases. It's very popular for players who no longer want to use the SH and they still want to tank bases. This is a much more forgiving option on the battlefield because if you screw up, it retrains really quickly and you can get right back into the fight. Like I said with Vanguard, this Liberty MBT retrains very fast, so it's very forgiving if you mess up. But it has one less ability, but it does have a heightened siege bonus than the other two MBTs. It has the rapid production and it has a higher movement speed. It's the fastest MBT out of all of them. So this is the one I'm going to personally be developing in the near future. Now on to helicopters. Now helicopters are developed from a tank hunter unit. So the helicopter for modders is the second fastest helicopter, but its camp bonus is only penetration. So I really do not recommend this because penetration is a very wonky attribute in the game. And that means if you go past the sloped armor by 1.5%, you will be over penetrating, which means your damage is halved. If you under penetrate, you have a chance for penetration where your damage is doubled. So this means the Martyr helicopter is going to be very effective at hunting SH units and MBTs, but it might overpen once you hit 9.2 because it will have so much penetration. Now, on to Vanguard. Vanguard is the slowest helicopter out of the group. It has heightened firepower, and it's a very strong helicopter in a dogfight where you're right up in the face on the front lines. But its lack of speed, like Martyrs, puts it at a huge risk of being swarmed and taken out. So you can't really fall back. It's just more of a frontline brawler, and you have to be very careful when you're maneuvering and trying to go on a flank. Liberty helicopter, my personal favorite helicopter, I'm not being biased, because I had the option of having a Vanguard or Liberty at one point, but I chose Liberty, and I'm happy I did. It's the fastest helicopter out of them all. It travels at 63 kilometers per second. Well, yeah, 63 kilometers per hour. That's the technical term. It's very functional. It has good penetration. It has good damage. It has the second highest HP in the game. Very, very good. Now, each camp has its own unique unit. Even though every unit within the camps are unique, I mean they actually have a unique unit which within the camps, once you max a camp's reputation, you get gold plus parts for it. So for Liberty, it's light tanks. For Martyr, it's rocket trucks. And for Vanguard, it is actually the super heavy unit. Now, two of these units I would recommend, which would be the rocket truck and the light for a new player or a free to play player, because those free Go Plus Plus parts put you ahead of the curve. However, SH units I wouldn't really recommend. I would get rid of the turret and the engine, but I would keep the armor. The armor is super valuable because it's gold plus, and it would be very good on a MBT because you could use that on an MBT. Now, on to the next unit. We're going to cover the unique units. We're going to start with Martyrs. The rocket truck is a very squishy unit, but it's a very fast unit, and it does the most damage to structures. It has 350% damage to structures. Its counterpart in the same camp, Howitzer, is more suited for taking on vehicles because the vehicle damage is higher and the structure damage is 250%. So now the current meta, rocket trucks are usually traveling in packs and they will quickly destroy a base very, very fast. But however, a lot of people do not know how to properly use them. And a good example of watching how a rocket truck should be used is Old Chen, based on the YouTuber of Vanguard, Warpath Vanguard. And you can look him up, and he is very good with what he does with rocket launchers. Now, on to the light tank. The light tank is the fastest tank in the game, is meant for taking out helicopters. It has AA mode. Even though the AA mode it doesn't do a ton of damage, it's still very good. And at one point in time, this thing was the meta. It would overrun every unit in the game, SH units, almost everything. It would overrun it. And there's still some players out there who are very big in the game, who have a lot of tech unlocked and a lot of other things unlocked that use specifically only the light tank, and such as Lead Farmer from server 12. Now, and also Maxinator from server 12, who's in Hot Bloody Road, who is a very good light tank player, and I recommend everyone watching him because he's a free to play player. So he demonstrates how you should use a light tank and the best at using the hit and run tactics and how to micromanage your units. On to the SH. In the early game, SH units are the best for base to base fighting. You attack the base with your SH, and it will soak the damage from the base attacks and the garrison units in there. Now, Vanguard also has one other unique unit, which is its version of artillery, the anti-tank gun, which is meant for taking out armor. There's a lot of controversy around this unit right now. A lot of people do not like it because now the SH is no longer there. A lot of people don't want to use it, and now with MBTs being the lead charge unit, a lot of people want to use the helicopter. But in June, ATGs are getting a rework where they're going to get an AA mode, and it's too soon to see what it's going to be doing. So I recommend, if you are going to be building an ATG, build it to 7.1 so that way you're not permanently locked to this unit, and that way you can flex away into a different unit like an MBT or a helicopter or a fighter plane or a bomber or even infantry. So, but the ATG is supposedly also very well with main battle tanks taking them out, but I personally have not seen it. I don't know many people who run it, because they find it very cumbersome to use because it usually sits in your base. And with base defense not really being a really big deal anymore because all the bases blow up really quickly, it's not a big thing. Now on to infantry. Modern infantry, it has the highest damage resist, especially in bunker mode, and almost all infantry have all infantry have a passive heal ability, and they also retrain relatively quickly. But the infantry bunker mode that soaks up a lot of damage. It's very good for tanking structures and bases. However, it's still relatively weak to rocket trucks and also artillery. Now, Vanguard, again, is meant for taking out tanks. It does a lot of damage to tanks, but it's not very durable and it will die very, very quickly if not properly managed. But it still has a decent damage resist when it's in bunker mode. Now, the Liberty Infantry has one unique ability different from both Vanguard and Martyrs. It actually has the ability to deploy an automatic smoke screen that will blind your target, preventing it from attacking you for a few seconds. And it is very useful. It's the second best in durability, the second best in damage, and it's very, very useful. And I recommend if you're going to build an infantry unit, build the infantry, Liberty Camp Infantry. Now, if you're not into rocket trucks and you want to have a better chance of base defense, we're going to go into now howitzers. Now, Martyr Howitzer, like I said earlier, is meant for attacking vehicles. So it's very good on defense, but I do not recommend it because it has a very slow retrain time, much like the rocket truck, where if you don't have it set up, you can have a 7-second reload, but your first initial attack would be a 3-second. But you can train that down so that way you have a 2-second, and as long as you're micromanaging the rocket truck and you move it, you can keep firing. So now on to the ATG. If I ever connect back to the server, come on. There we are. Now the ATG, this is technically, in my opinion, not an artillery unit. This is a direct cannon fire unit. It does only penetration damage. The other two howitzers, along with the rocket truck, do blast damage. This does direct damage just like an MBT or a helicopter would, or infantry, okay? So this unit, like I said, meant for SH and meant for MBT. Now, the Liberty Howitzer, probably one of the most famous howitzers in the game of Warpath. This unit is so good, it's ridiculous. It's the second best at base damage. It does 300% damage. It has a really fast reload time. You can get it down to almost 1 second in reload time. And I mean, that's if you're pairing both Eruptor with War Machine on there. It's a massive reload. Super massive, but really good. And that faster reload means more DPS. It's probably one of the most popular. If you watch a lot of players or YouTubers who play this game, you'll see that they're using a Liberty Howitzer, and that would be like Death Wish, Antonio Vidiek, that guy. There's a ton of people who will use the Liberty Howitzer because it's just all reliable and it's very, very good. Okay, now on to farming parts. Now, for a main battle tanks, I would recommend you only select the medium category because, like I said, the armor can be converted from the track system of the medium, but you have better chances of finding it, but it's still very difficult to find gold plus plus parts. And the same thing will be said for the helicopter and the infantry. They're all very hard to find specific gold plus plus parts per camp because there's 3 different camps in one, along with howitzers and also fighter planes. So opening up your crates in groups of 10 is your best chance. However, in helicopters, the engine of a medium can be used in a helicopter and can be converted. You would need to use tank hunter parts. On to light tanks. Light tanks, you could buy specific crates from the conversion store and get specific light tank components there. I recommend opening them up in groups of 10, and this along with the SH is the best way to farm actual accessory pieces for tanks. Now for howitzers, if you like using Martyr Howitzer, I would recommend you open up rocket truck parts because one of the parts for a howitzer can be used on a rocket truck, and also you can farm Gold Plus Plus accessories. Now, the rocket truck also has its own unique category, so it's easier to find and farm Gold Plus Plus parts. And the same can be said for the bombers. Each bomber has its own category, therefore, it's easier to farm the accessories and that specific bomber's parts. The ATG also has its own specific category, therefore, it's easier to farm its parts. Now, like I said in my battle tactics video, micromanaging these units, if you're using them in the field of battle, in an open field fight, you will have great results. And right now, I also did some slight officer pairings. If you guys would like to see more officer pairings that I recommend for a specific unit, please like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell, and I will gladly help you. I'm FUBAR, and I was glad to share this information. And remember, I always got your 6. And please join the Discord. It's in the description below. Peace.